what are we buying? On the top of my head, we've got kale, swede, potatoes, carrots, onions, red and white, cauliflower. Also got
broccoli.
Sprouting and broccoli, yeah.
The food of the moment.
Yes, exactly. That is quite popular at the minute, is it?
Oh,
generally.
Well,
yeah.
it's the only veg that we could grow up after the war that was available at this time.
Really?
You know, really.
Right, so yeah, I didn't know that. There you go.
It's mostly local vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
It's all mostly from Lancashire, really.
Yeah, that's kind of our
There's not much arable farming goes on in Cheshire. It's all cows.
In Cheshire is mostly cows.
Yeah, it's always been good grazing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's that is the biggest that's in the morning.
I'm in the packing bin, Ellie.
5 more, so we can use those little cardboard boxes.
Okay.
They grew the kale for the cattle,
Right.
and the poor peasants would pinch a bit off the
Right,
cows
okay.
and eat it.
So when was that?
Hundreds of years ago.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So it's
That was a superfood.
it always has been. I mean, it's the closest thing you can get to seaweed because it's the first progression onto being a land plant.
Right, okay. And seaweed, it's like spirulina,
yeah.
isn't it? That's...
Spirulina there's but there is. I mean, its real name is sea kale.
Right, okay.
So it's and the thousands of varieties it has, blue and black and all sorts of.
Do you get the other varieties, or is it all green?
Yeah, the Cavallonera, which is the black one. It's great long fronds of leaves. It's got an Italian name because the Italians were quite fond of it.
Right.
That's a bit better eating. It's more cabbagey-like than that is.
Okay.
Whereas that's got those, it's got that slightly rubbery lean to it.
Yeah.
That's, it's obviously still thinks the tide's going to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we really need to know that?
Yeah. Fair play. Alright. Cool. Right, well, see you next week then.
Okay, doke.
Business mate.
Have a good.
And you, yeah. See you later.
And then you've got to go out on the tail and surf. And it just. I don't look any more oats in the eye.
It's the bush. The carrot's looking good there. Yeah.
Do they taste the carrots? Two in a row!
Yeah, my grandma used to do. She used to boil the carrots when we put a teaspoon of sugar in there.
Really? Proper sweet carrot.
When I was working on the tills once at Unicorn, this woman came with this one carrot, right? She bought one carrot at Unicorn like the day before. And she said, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to return it. And it actually had like rabbit teeth marks in it. Like kind of nibbled all over in little patches, but it wasn't like bad. You could have really cut around it. It was quite a big carrot, but she was just like, oh no. Oh my god, what did you think? It just really made me laugh.
Yeah, that's why
She'd only bought one carrot as well.
She bothered to come all the way back and return it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
People. Garlic.
Yeah.
You know garlic, my parents are part of this community garden in my hometown in Australia. And one of the things they do is they have like communal beds and they plant cash crops on them to grow. They all put the effort in and sell it at the markets, and garlic is one of those things. Like it's such a high profit margin.
Yeah.
Like it's really quite difficult to get right. Like you've got to pick it at exactly the right time.
How long does it takes quite a long time to grow, doesn't it?
I think the rule is you plant it on Anzac Day and pick it on Melbourne Cup Day, which means absolutely nothing to you.
I know.
So you plant it.
A war memorial day, isn't it? I know.
You plant it on, I think it's the 25th of March or April. I should know that. And then you plant it, pick it on the 4th of November.
The 8 boxes.
That's a long time.
People should be growing food. That's another thing. More people should be growing food. I encourage that.
I'll just check the delivery notes.
Rather than relying on it being all controlled and centralised by big supermarkets who aren't really helping with climate change, whatever change is happening, you know. Change is always happening.
I think it's really important, especially living in a city, that people should have access to fresh fruit and vegetables and not have to buy through a supermarket. The difference between the veg here and the veg in the supermarket, for one thing, it tastes so much better. Carrot tastes like a carrot, you know, the tomatoes taste like tomatoes. The veg we get here as well, you know, it still might have dirt on it, maybe it's a little bit funny shaped, but I mean it's still perfectly good to eat, and I think there's no reason to waste it. And supermarkets, you know, waste vegetables that don't look exactly right. I think it's really important to support small businesses like this, or just small business in general. I think we're in real danger of ending up with a few big corporations dictating to the people, I mean, what you can buy, what you have access to, and how things are run. And I think it's really important that individual people or groups of people are able to make a living out of running their own business and not have to buy into the corporate rat race. You know, keep things at a grassroots level, get the community involved, and really create a great little community. I think sometimes it can be quite difficult to get the organic label for something, and I think if you're buying it straight from the farm, and if you've talked to the farmer or you've talked to the supplier at the market, I don't think it really needs to have the organic label. If you know where it's come from and you know how it's been produced, then it doesn't matter whether it's got a label on it or not. Whereas I think that's sometimes something a bit more that supermarkets use to sell a product to a niche market and to put a bit of a markup on it. So I'm a little bit cynical about, you know, organic labels as such, and I think it's just better to buy straight from the supplier. You know where it's come from. Elena Quality.
Was this the Big Apples one?
Yeah. Terry Metcalf.
Oh. What size?
Small.
Who is it?
Terry Metcalf. Jonathan Wren.
Bit of a dialogue has become over the last year from like meeting customers on the doorstep, but quite often with kind of automated bank transfers and stuff, people don't have to be in, people are often at work, so you know, it becomes less and less kind of involved with the customer. In fact, this is the first time today I've ever seen someone in the house, so. Shall we get on? It's quite funny, I'm actually going into this cupboard.
Right. Oh, nice.
There's like, some people have discrete places they want things to be kept, but on a quiet cul-de-sac like this, it wouldn't necessarily be a problem. But then, like in some areas that are deemed like more of a risk, Moss Side, other places, Rusholme, Hume, people are just quite open just to having their stuff. You know, it's like left in an open place, which is quite vulnerable. So, so it's like everyone's different reflection on the interpretation of where they live, and actually the kind of what's the word, like the story, like kind of the perception of an area from outside when you don't live in that area is completely different from what, say, the community that's in it. So you were saying about coming into people's like different parts of their life and different parts of their day and the different parts of their routine, and like, you know, you just kept people in their towels coming to the door, and you know, and they're in like, they're kind of in a vulnerable state, but yet, you know, you just accept this because you're just that guy. They see you regularly, so it's just like, oh yeah, it's whatever, they're just doing what they're doing. So you know, it's quite you know, it's quite interesting, like, to see like people can be accepting in every situation and not worry about, you know, they kind of know who you're going to be there, but you know, still they'll open the door in a vulnerable state that they, you know, they're exposing themselves, like not completely, but yeah.
No, I didn't see this guy. How was it? Was it like
he either, you know, just showered or something like that, you know, and he just opened the door holding a towel. So
right,
you know, he was, you know, semi-exposed, naked or whatever. So it's like, you know, like you say, it's like that kind of, you know, intimacies, I suppose, you share with someone, and it's like, in a weird sense, you wouldn't think twice about, but they're quite commonplace, you know. When people are getting ready for work in the morning, or for whatever they're doing, going to uni, college, or whatever, and you know, or even like I say, people with mobility problems, you know, and you know, you're going into their house and they're being open with you, and you know, they might still be in their night dress, or you know, whatever they're doing, and but they're, you know, they respect the fact that you're helping them, and you know, they're accepting you into their space, which, you know, is a very, you know, empowering thing. Yeah, it's nice to hear people say they're excited about something as well, and you think, wow, it's just vegetables, but you know, that's something that excites them, and it's like, well, that's really interesting, you know. That makes it turn to my head a little bit, like, but in a positive way.